The fox had wandered since morning, his paws dusty from the long road, his belly hollow and sharp with hunger. The fields he had crossed were bare of prey, the streams too shallow for fish, the burrows too quiet for rabbits. The sun, high and merciless, glared down upon him, heating his back until sweat darkened his reddish fur. Still he pressed on, his eyes scanning every bush, every tree, every fence for some morsel. Hunger made him restless, but pride drove him forward too. He would not slink back to his den empty, not while his belly twisted and his strength ebbed. And then, just as the afternoon light began to soften, his nose twitched at a smell so sweet and rich that it stopped him in his tracks. He lifted his head, nostrils flaring, and saw ahead of him a vineyard. Tall posts held up rows of vines heavy with leaves, and dangling from them in great clusters were grapes, ripe and swollen with juice. They hung like jewels, dark purple and glistening in the sunlight. The sight made his mouth flood with saliva. Never had he seen such abundance, fruit fit for kings, so close, so perfect, so tempting. He trotted eagerly toward the vines, his tail flicking, his eyes alight. The fox paused at the first row, craning his neck upward. The grapes he wanted most, the largest, darkest, plumpest, were far above his head, high on the vine where the sun had kissed them longest. His stomach growled, his tongue darted across his muzzle. He crouched, coiled his body, and leapt. For an instant, his paws brushed the leaves, his jaws snapped at the air, but he fell short. He landed back on the ground with a thud, the dust rising around him. The grapes remained untouched, swaying gently as though mocking his effort. He growled and shook the dust from his fur. "Too low," he muttered. "I must leap higher." He tried again, running first to gain speed, springing with all the strength in his legs. His body stretched upward, his mouth opened wide, but still he fell short, the grapes glimmering just beyond reach. Again and again he leapt, claws scrabbling at the posts, jaws snapping at empty air. Each time he landed harder, each time his chest heaved heavier. The grapes hung where they were, silent, patient, untouchable. The fox sat down, panting, his sides heaving. His legs ached, his pride smarted. He circled the vines, searching for another way. But every cluster he desired was higher still, placed where no paw could reach, no leap could claim. His hunger sharpened into frustration, and frustration into anger. "Surely there must be a way," he snarled. He tried climbing the posts, his claws scratching at the wood, but they were too smooth, too tall. He tried stacking stones into a clumsy heap, but the pile collapsed beneath him, spilling him into the dirt. Dust coated his fur, sweat stung his eyes, and still the grapes swayed above, fat with juice, their skins glowing in the sun. At last he flung himself down beneath the vines, his chest heaving, his pride wounded beyond endurance. He glared up at the clusters, his eyes burning with resentment. They seemed to gleam brighter in his defeat, their fragrance sweeter. His hunger raged, but his pride would not let him admit his failure. And so he narrowed his eyes, lifted his head high, and spoke loudly, as though to the whole vineyard. "Bah, those grapes are nothing but sour. They are not worth my time, nor fit for my tongue. Let the birds have them, or the farmer's children. I am too wise to waste myself on bitter fruit." With that, he turned his back on the vines and stalked away, tail stiff, head high, though his belly roared with emptiness, and his heart knew the truth he dared not speak. For it was not sourness that kept him from the grapes, but his own inability to reach them. He had failed, and rather than face it, he clothed his failure in scorn. The wind rustled the vines as he left, and if the grapes could laugh, their laughter would have followed him down the road. The fox disappeared into the distance, his hunger unsatisfied, his pride still clinging to its lie. And so his story was told again and again, whispered by fields and firesides, that those who cannot have what they desire will often claim it was never worth having, though their hearts ache for it still.